Okay, new video, let's go. It's raining, it's still raining. It's been a while since I made some videos and I'm quite excited to make new videos. Yeah, I'm back in the motherland. That's why I didn't make any videos in February. I was quite busy relocating to my country, to my homeland of Congo, which some of you know as Zaire. Anyway, yeah, new video. It's nice to be home and seeing my people again. That's why it took long to release new videos. I needed to find a place to record and find time and all that, Anyway, it's a lot of stuff. Getting home, seeing family, seeing old friends and all that. I am sure you understand. Alright, sorry I didn't state this in the previous video. This is another video, so let's get right into the video. Okay, so this is a new little series I want to start. It's gonna be called Visiting the Tombs of Kemet. Interesting tombs that I found. This series is coming about thanks to the great contributions of one of the subscribers of the channel, that is Mr. the Debunker. He sends me incredible images. I do not know the debunker if you are an Egyptologist or something. He has the most thorough images of tombs. It's like he's been in there, took pictures for us, and the walls are pretty detailed. These are the originals of the tombs, of the images that you see in these tombs. And something that you will notice in this video, from seeing these images, you will notice that a lot of the images have been showing that when I Google images of paintings of ancient Egypt, of Kemet, a lot of those images are reconstructions. Some are really accurate, some are not. Some are, a bit touched up, but yeah, a lot of these images out there are reconstructions. They're pretty good though. For the most part, they're pretty good. Anyway, let's get right into the video. In this first part of the series, I don't know if it's gonna be long or short. It depends. We're going to look at 3 tombs. We're going to start with the tomb of Amenhotep, which is known as the tomb of Hwe. Then we're going to move on to the tomb of Horemheb. Then lastly, we look at the tomb of Mena. Okay, and at the end, we're going to look at the problematic of the color yellow in ancient Egypt, because of these interesting comments that I got from one of the people who viewed the video. This series was also partly initiated by this kind of comment. Let me read it to you. Someone left this comment under the Metatron video, so he came to defend Metatron's point of view. So here's what he says.
All that he said, Metatron, was true. You guys are just claiming something that doesn't belong to you, and you don't have or had. Egyptians did separate themselves from you, blacks, and they painted you in pure black, while they painted themselves in brown and their women in yellow, because they were less exposed to the sun than the men.
Okay. So even in watching the Metatron's video, this guy still came up with this same old argument. I believe in the Metatron's video, I showed a bunch of women in Kemet not being represented in yellow. Anyway, and he says that, we want to claim something that does not belong to us or that we never had. So black people never had civilization. So the Nubians, yeah, they were, non-black, or simply their civilization does not count because they were Nubians, they were black, so it's not civilization. Anyway, clearly this man is an ignorant, but still, we like to respond. Let's start looking at these images from the tomb of Hwe, Horemeb, and Mena, and also look at the problematic of the color yellow.
What?
Oh, hell no!
Oh, hell no!
Oh, hell no.
Alright, let's start looking at these images. Again, this video is not scripted. When I look at images, I do not script my videos. Okay, let's look at the first image. This is an image from the tomb of Hwe. Look at how original it is. Look at how this is an original picture. You would see the reconstructions are done close enough, but they don't match accurately the original with all the dirt, but you can still see a lot of faces there. So we're gonna look at the coloration the artists used to represent the skin color of the people. Again, clearly here on the wall, you see a variation of brown that is very common in every African societies. This variation of brown signifies that the color of the skin varies, the tone varies from person to person. So clearly the argument of the conventional color of brown because they were out in the sun being tanned is nonsensical. Tombs such as the tomb of Amenhotep, tomb of Re, debunk such ideas thoroughly. Look at the shades of brown you see here. This one is lighter brown and this one is dark brown. If you zoom in, you see that they respected the color of gold, the color of the weighing machine here, the balance, right? You see here the wood was black, so he put black. The pole was brown, he put brown. Why would he all of a sudden change the color of the people's skin color? That does not make sense. And also, the burden of proof is on the side of those who make the claim. You have to prove to us that they were indeed using conventional colors like metaphorical meanings. This you have not done. But let's zoom in. At the bottom here, you can see again variations of brown, dark brown to brown, medium brown, right? So the same. So clearly skin colors you see in Africa everywhere, right? In Black Africa. And then we go to the top. There is something interesting. We see jet black Egyptians along with light skinned Egyptians and light brown Egyptians along with darker brown Egyptians. Now, usually scholars would go like, well, these are not Egyptians, they are Nubians who migrated north and lived. Come on, man. Come on, man. No, you have to admit at this point that there were black Egyptians. They are there. And this brown color is simply black people's skin color. That's simply what it is. And again, the fact that they put dark brown, brown, and jet black in the painting means the color is not representative of, oh, this guy is always out in the sun. No, it's representative of skin tone variation that is very common in every African societies. Alright, next image. Next image is the same. It debunks again the argument of the brown meant being out in the sun. Thoroughly debunks it. And also here on this picture, we even get facial features. First we look at the hair, we see afro hair texture. Now, when we focus on the face profile, the face's profile has what the experts call subnasal prognathism, a very common trait in African people. And this man in front here is clearly a black man. His dark brown skin, his full lips, his subnasal prognathism, plus his afro. Have you ever seen a white man that looks like that? And draw a person like this in a cartoon, everybody would call him black, but somehow on an Egyptian wall, everybody seems to be like, no, this is not a black man, this is a Caucasian of the darker type. Come on, man. And we move on. The second row, the men are also, yeah, brown. The brown is lighter, but of course, this color is also in Africa. Then we move on to the second row. Again, variation. That man in the comments would say that this color is simply representative of him being more out in the sun. Come on, man. The subnasal prognathism is there, and also afro hair texture. And we move on to the next, and the next is the same story. Next image again, it's a zoom on the people weighing things. Again, dark brown color and afro here, and the man was bald with reddish brown skin tone, a skin tone very common in the Hausa people, for example, or in Ethiopia or in Kenya. But then you have the dark brown man here, the tall one, again a shade common in West Africa and Central Africa and also East Africa. So again, variation of skin tones, not a metaphorical meaning of tanning under the sun. Anyway, we move on to the next picture. Here we are shown Kemites with their gods. Now, there is a sentence I heard that the Freemasons say. They claim that, remember that Osiris was black. And I heard somewhere, I have not been able to check it, but I heard somewhere that people call Osiris the big black man. This I heard from Dr. Shekanta Diop, but I have not been able to find where this is referenced. Anyway, I now know why they call him the big black man, because look at the coloration of his skin here. It's jet black. Now, remember the comment said that, well, the Egyptians colored you Africans who had no civilization as black, pitch black. Okay, no problem. So they did with their gods, right? Osiris there, the first son of the supreme god, is black. He's jet black like the Nubians. Okay, right. Osiris was black, and so were his descendants. We move on here. We see the Nubians now with their feather on the head and their nice hairstyles. Variation of brown to jet black as we see in Africa today. You go to Sudan, you see jet black people in Senegal, but you go to Nigeria or South Africa or Kenya, you see brown people. Now this debunks his statement of, well, they drew you and the Nubians, you and black Africans, the ones who had no civilization, as jet black always. This clearly debunks that, and so does the next picture. clearly the ancient Egyptian painter, who was not colorblind like so many Egyptologists just happened to be, they drew variation of skin tone within an African population just as they did with their own people. We see jet black, dark brown. I have already detailed this picture before. We see again here with the peasant Nubians. Again, jet black, dark brown, brown, and light brown. Even the children here, one is jet black and one is dark brown. Okay, we move on to the next one. The idea of the Nubians being represented as always in jet black is thoroughly debunked. People who say this have only heard statements from Egyptologists, but have not seen the original documents. Now I'm bringing it here. I'm bringing it to you thanks to the debunker. Thank you again. Everybody, if you see the debunker in the comment section, give him a thank you, a big thank you. Share the love to the person. Again, here we see light brown, jet black, and dark brown in the Nubian people, in the people of Tasseti. Again, the idea is thoroughly debunked. Now we go to the Kemites here. Now you see, again, variation in the skin tone because the Kemites painters were not colorblind as the Western Egyptologists just so happen to be when it comes to Kemet. So again, red brown skin, what they like to call reddish brown, which I just like to call brown. Then we have light brown skin, light brown, light brown. Again, a color very common in Ethiopia. Okay, next one again, some people from Tasseti, some Kushites. Again, if you compare, look at this. Look at the features being represented and the coloration. It's just debunked. The ancient Egyptian painters, again, were not colorblind. They saw a variation in skin tone between the Kushites people. But then they will come and tell us, no, that brown color means they're Egyptianized because some Egyptians slept with some black Kushites and that's why they have these people. I'm like, come on. Oh my god, just because the Kushites built pyramids too and had high civilization, now they want to say, oh no, the Kushites are 40% Caucasian. Really? that's just funny. I look at that and I'm like, really? Okay. And when they claim this, they talk about Christian era Nubians. I'm like, dude, these are representations hundreds of years before Christian era Nubia. Anyway, we move on to the next picture. Here we are given a zoom on jet black skinned Egyptian. Some Egyptians on these pictures, some Kemites on this picture have jet black skin. These are women. There is one woman with jet black skin, there's one woman with light brown skin, and remember, all of these women have a subnasal prognathosum. And look at the child here, which is also a girl, she has brown skin. Again, this debunks the argument of all Egyptian women were always yellow. Where's yellow here? We have how many women? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 women plus a little girl, 6. None of them are yellow. They're all brown. One is jet black and the others are light brown, which is a color you still find in Ethiopia. And also, yes, we are not against the idea that there were Egyptians who are of the Asiatic type, Mediterranean type. They could well be these, but the subnasal prognathosum makes me refrain from stating that these women were white women. Now we move on to the next tomb, the tomb of Horemheb. Right, the first picture again comes to debunk the idea of
the brown skin represented the man being outside working in the sun.
But clearly here we see again the painter, the artist, represented skin tone variation. Now, here is an interesting thing that someone came to tell me in the comment section, because I'm always in these comments sometimes. Now this guy came to drop a link of a video that supposedly debunked me and all my channel and Sheikh Anta Diop's books and everything. So he comes to drop this video that shows images from various tombs showing Egyptians with blonde hair. I'm like, really? Then we took a closer look. So the debunker sent me these pictures and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is the images that man was using to claim that these Egyptians were blonde haired. Clearly, this man was misleading people. We see here that the hair, the paint of the hair has clearly faded. You can see this on the cloth of the people here, on these two men. You see this on their skin. So clearly the paint has faded. But he does not want to accept that. He takes that for blonde hair. I'm like, okay. But the skin is still very dark, and there are dark-skinned people with blonde hair. That exists too. Anyway, we go to the next one. Now we are here in a scene again showing variation in skin tone in Kemet, just as they did for the Kushites. So again, these are Kemites men working outside without any shirts, without anything to protect themselves, just there with the cloth around the waist. Again, remember the argument I made. You cannot be a Caucasian and work outside like this for long hours every day under the harsh sun of the Nile Valley. You have to be tropically adapted. This is further evidence that the ancient Egyptians were just tropical Africans, hence black Africans. Again here, one is even wearing a leopard skin, a very common African attire. And then you look at the hair textures, the afros you see everywhere. And you can clearly see that in this tomb, the paint tends to fade. But again, the coloration of the skin, I always like to point this out. Draw these same men in a cartoon, and every child will tell you that that's a black man. Draw all these with the same coloration. They would tell you this is a black man. I mean, look at these pictures I have shown you. I'm showing you here of drawings of black people. But somehow, when it comes to the tomb paintings of ancient Egypt, the experts, air quotes, are somehow unable to accept the simple fact that these men were black. And then here again, we have women. Okay, this here just comes to debunk the idea that every woman in ancient Egypt, in Kemet, was represented with a yellow skin because, well, they didn't work outside. You can clearly see here that these are ladies, okay? These are not peasants, they are ladies. And what is the coloration the painter chose? Brown to light brown. And somehow I'm the one who is lying and Metatron is saying the truth. I'm the one who is bringing images, thanks to the debunker, again, from tomb paintings, like original images. But somehow I'm the one who's lying. Anyway, we're seeing the tomb together. Clearly your idea of the woman always being represented in yellow and with the metaphorical meaning does not stand. And where do you even get that? Did you read that in a papyrus? No, you took it from one fairy tale made up by Cherubini. Anyway, you can see the variation of skin color throughout the men, the women, and the people in general. And again, let's remember the words of Sheikh Anta Diop when he said, why not question the coloration of the bull? They just say that the coloration of the people is what is being metaphorically represented. No, that does not stand. And then we have last images of the tomb of Horemheb. We have on the left a woman with clearly African features, and her hairstyle clearly depicts braid. But I could be wrong, eh? I could be wrong again. She seems to be carrying a baby in a basket, very much like African women do today. And then you see the coloration the painter chose. He chose brown. Then we move on to the men on the right here. Again, coloration brown, subnasal prognathosum. We can't say more. Next tomb, the tomb of Mena. Again, guys, these are original images. I'm not making them up. I'm not reconstructing them. They're original documents. Okay, then we continue to the tomb of Mena. In the tomb of Mena, we see again a picture, a beautiful picture here drawn by the Kemet artists. Again, all the colors are respected. The leaves there are green. The birds are pink because, you know, all the feathers are out, right? The fish are greenish, grayish, and all that. And the men have brown skin. The hair here, we got an afro. We still got the subnasal prognathosum, you know, and all that. Next image. Now we have here a picture of Kemites working outside. They're working outside again without shirts, which could cause skin cancer, melanoma, if they were Caucasians, pale-skinned Caucasians. But they're not, because they had a lot of melanin, so the sun wouldn't do anything to them. Okay, so here again is a case of so-called blonde-haired Egyptians, where the paint has clearly faded. But they would not accept that. They said, no, the color was blonde. Come on. Anyway, we go to the next one. Same case here. The Kemites working outside. Again, in a very similar fashion than Africans further south, by the way. Always working outside in the days prior to colonization. Always working in the fields without any shirts to protect their torso. Again here, we can see the so-called blonde hair. Anyway, alright, then we have an African woman here. This is very similar to the way African women carry their babies while working. Always tying them up somehow and all that. And the features again are represented here. Subnasal prognathosum. If the Egyptians, again, I said it in previous videos, if the Kemites did not see these features around in their people, why would they choose to represent it all over their art? If these features are present, it's because it was very common in Kemet. That is, brown skin, subnasal prognathosum, full lips, afro hair texture, and all that. All that was present. Black people. Then we move on to the next picture. Again, another case of so-called blonde hair. This is not blonde hair. Clearly, the paint has faded. It seems black paint fades easier than the brown paint on the body. again working outside without any shirts. And then here, down here, some would say, oh, look, they have pink skin like Europeans. Now, clearly the paint is also fading here, because if you look closely at their feet, these women have brown feet, brown faces, brown arms. It's the cloth that the painter wanted to represent, and it seems to be one of these transparent robes that they used to wear. It must have been a sight.
Yeah, boy. Hello there.
Yeah. Anyway, you can even see locks over there. Anyway, now we move on to the next picture. Again, another case of blonde-haired Egyptians. I can't say this with a straight face. If their hair was blonde indeed, you would have seen them representing it with the same color as the wit here. The wit is blonde. It's quite, it's the same color as the blonde hair of the Europeans, but it's not the color you see here. And this is clearly a case of paint fading as off the tree. Alright, next one again. Kemites working and learning from their master here, right? You can see very organized. They have pens and they're writing down. Man, this was a high civilization. And look at their features again. Black hair, afro type, brown skin all over the place, and transparent shirts. Okay, then we move on to the next picture. I don't know what they're doing with this man down here. Are they whipping him? I think they're whipping the man. What did he do?
Hey, what happened?
Anyway. Alright, yeah, again, the paint is fading at the level of the hair. This supports my theory when I said black paint seems to fade faster than the brown paint. And green as well. Look at the stuff, the green stuff here. Anyway, we move on to the next picture. Okay, then here we have, again, Kemites working outside without shirts and being supervised by their overseer, their supervisor. And yeah, you see the organization. Someone here is responsible for, I guess that's water. And then we have these guys here doing, I don't know what. I think pouring the wet. I don't know. And yeah, the other men there doing other stuff. And all of them have brown skin.
Oh, that's because they're working outside.
LOL!
We already debunked that idea. And then we have here the god Osiris with locks. I was shocked when I saw this picture. The god Osiris with his dark blue skin had locks on. He has dreadlocks.
That was legitness. Yeah, it was, huh?
Okay, then we have these images here. Now again, this is another case of the so-called blonde hair, which I have debunked thoroughly by now. You can see that the men on top here have black hair, same prognatism, and brown skin. Then down here, the paint around the men's hair has faded, but the skin remains brown. Clearly, it has faded. Next picture. Here we have, again, a nobleman with his beautiful lady wife. Oh man, this woman is quite beautiful.
Hello there.
The artists are really great. They were really great in Kemet. Anyway, look at this beautiful woman. Her skin is brown. Where is the yellow skin? Again, this is the third tomb we have looked. These are original documents. This is the third tomb we have shown, and we haven't found this so-called conventional color of women which is supposed to be yellow. You see here a realistic representation with ornaments that you still find in Africa further south today. And look at this hairstyle. You still find it in Ethiopia or in black tribes of North Africa. The woman is very beautiful.
Hello there.
And look at the subnasal prognatism. It's there, the full lips. I hope you can see this clearly. It's beautiful. The woman is beautiful. And then here again, another woman with dark brown skin in this case. I think she's a noble lady as well. A lady in waiting, or maybe the same lady, because this is the same tomb. Again, beautiful lady with beautiful eyes, beautiful hair. Again, frizzy hair and brown skin, not yellow. So clearly the painter, not being colorblind as most Egyptologists, saw the variation of skin tones in Kemet and Kush, and so he chose to represent it on the walls. Next image. Again here, more images of ladies in waiting to the Lord here with brown skin. Where are the yellow-skinned ladies? Again, if you see a yellow-skinned lady in Kemet, there are two possibilities. Either it's an accurate representation, or it's sometimes metaphorical too, because in this same tomb, I saw the same lady of the Lord being represented as yellow and as brown. The yellow one is present with godly stuff and all that, so clearly it's a metaphorical representation. and the brown one is shown in natural state as doing something with her husband, meaning it's more realistic, it's more natural. So again, we see these ladies doing something natural, bringing food for their lord, drinks for a party, and we see the men on top as well. Both of them share the same complexion. Now, where is the so-called conventional women always being represented as yellow? Nowhere to be found, because the Egyptologists know that people don't have access to these images, so they're like, oh no, women are always represented as yellow in Kemet. That's not the case. Okay, we've seen 3 tombs debunking that idea. Anyway, we go to the next picture. Again, here is a man, I think, a friend to the Lord, I think, with his lady. Both the lady of the Lord and the lady of the friend of the Lord, I'll just call him that, are brown-skinned women. And the Lord and his friend are both brown-skinned. And the hair texture, again, brown-skinned people, black people. Now here's the image I was speaking of that same lady in the tomb. Now she's being represented as yellow, but notice she has the god Horus on her head and it's godly stuff, so it's related to religion being symbolic. She's not doing something natural here like in the real world, as when the Lord was hunting and she was holding him, or when she's sitting and receiving gifts. Those are worldly things that you do, but here she's in the presence of the god, and now she's represented with the color yellow, which again means fertility or femininity in Africa. Then we have this last picture here of the tomb of Horemheb. Again, this man here is dark brown, the other two are light brown, but look at their features and their hair texture, subnasal prognatism very present, and especially the man killing the cow there. He has a very strong prognatism, full lips, afro hair, and brown skin. The presence of all those 3 leads us to the conclusion that this was a black man. Okay, let's move on to the problematic of the color yellow. How was the color yellow used in Kemet? I have just shown you that sometimes women in Kemet were represented as yellow because of some metaphorical meaning. That is true, but that metaphorical meaning was often used when in the presence of God, and it means fertility or something related to femininity. Now let's compare. These images are the courtesy of Munes, another subscriber of the channel. Thank you, Munes, for your amazing compilation of photos. I am thoroughly using them. I am thoroughly gonna enjoy using them. So here Munes sends us a picture of a statue of Cote d'Ivoire and a painting of Kemet. Yellow in Kemet can also represent light skin, according to these images, right? There is a term that the African Americans always use, the term yellow bone, to refer to light-skinned black people. And it is a very telling term when you think about it, right? Yellow boned. Now, why did they say yellow? Because the skin is almost yellow. My own sister has a yellowish skin, and I have a dark brown skin, and we're in the same family. And this is very much the case in Africa, like throughout Africa. Like, look at these 2 brothers.
2 brothers in a van, and then a meteor hit, and they ran as fast as they could from giant cat monsters, and then a giant tornado came, and that's when things got knocked into 12th gear. A Mexican armada shows up with weapons made from tomatoes, and you better bet your bottom dollar that these 2 brothers know how to handle business. In Alien Invasion Tomato Monster Mexican Armada brothers, who are just regular brothers running in a van from an asteroid and all sorts of things, the movie. Hold on, there's more. Old women are coming, and they're also in the movie, and they're gonna come and cross-attack these 2 brothers. But let's get back to the brothers because they have a strong bond. You don't want to know about it here, but I'll tell you one thing. The moon, it comes crashing into Earth, and what do you do then? It's 2 brothers, and they're gonna, it's called 2 brothers. 2 brothers. It's just called 2 brothers.
This is Giannis, I think his name is Adekopo, the basketball player. Like, he's very famous, right? He's really great. I've seen his exploits in the NBA. He is amazing. I don't watch NBA, but
Wait a minute! Who are you?
he's amazing. I watched, my friend showed me. Now look at his brother. These 2 are brothers from the same mother and father, but their skin complexion varies, and this the Kemites had noticed, and they represented it on their walls, just like the Africans of Cote d'Ivoire have noticed. Here is a jet black-skinned mother who gave birth to a lighter-skinned child. What did the artist choose to represent the skin of the baby? Yellow. And in Kemet, the same can be said. And this is again another parallel between Kemet and the rest of Africa. Now, again, the same problematic of the color yellow. Yellow, light skin color in African art. Here we have on the left the fawn and on the right Kemet. They used the color yellow to represent lighter skin. Next one, again the color yellow being used to represent light skin. But again, remember what I said about women being represented as yellow in certain places. You see, she's represented with the symbol of the goddess. Again, it's in the presence of God that women are always represented as yellow. But when they're in the natural state, now doing things like receiving guests and stuff, all of a sudden their color changes. It becomes brown. Let's move on to the next picture. Now, red color in African art, the Bawele or the Baule and Kemet. Again, same color they used to represent the skin color of the people. Same color, the rest of Africa and Kemet. Anyhow, let's go. Red color in African art, another picture. Akan people from Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire there, and Kemet. Now, to go back to the color yellow. The color yellow is a typical African complexion as well. Like, look at these two women, these two gorgeous women. One is a famous actress, one is a beautiful girl I saw on Instagram, so I thought to snap, because I wanted to use it in the future to speak on these issues. Only a colorblind person, like the Egyptologist, would color these two as jet black people. Like, who in his right mind would color these two women, these two beautiful women, the same? Any artist would tell you that you need to use dark brown or brown for this beautiful actress on the left. Then you need to use lighter brown and yellow for this beautiful African woman on the right with her beautiful locks. Ooh, those locks are gorgeous. Same can be said here. Here is on the right is a beautiful South African woman with a beautiful afro. I mean, that hair is amazing. An artist would tell you again, would you use jet black? Anyway, we did this in kindergarten, right? Choose the color to color this person. If you choose black, you're colorblind. Not even colorblind, you are beyond any help. Even for this woman here, you would use dark brown. Same here, two women from Ethiopia. Same country, same people, but there is a variation of skin tone. One you would use brown, dark brown to represent, and one you would use light brown plus a smidgen of yellow. Same here, one you would use, oh my god, this is a gorgeous Sudanese model, Anokyai, she's really gorgeous. You would use here jet black. And here, if you use jet black or black, you're just beyond any help in terms of coloring anything. You would be the type of people, they tell you, can you color a banana? And you somehow color it red. Anyhow, we go to the next one. Now we're in West Africa. This is the yellow bone the Americans are always talking about. That's funny. That's a funny term. You see the variation of skin tone? Then you look at this Hausa man with his brown skin. If you use, again, you're a painter and you use the same generic brown to color all these people, or you use black to color all these people, you are a failure of a painter. You don't know any colors. And then we look at the family again of Yanis Adekopo. I think that's his name. I don't know.
No! God, please, no! No!
Of this NBA player, a family of NBA players stands next to these guys. You're a dwarf, straight up. Anyway, look at these men. Variation of skin color in the same family. One is almost jet black, one is light skin, then the other two are brown, almost dark brown. So again, if you use the same generic brown color for all these three, you have problems. And then we have a beautiful picture here again with two NBA players, one of the tallest NBA players, if not the tallest NBA player. Look at his skin, that's jet black. I think he's a Dinka man. And then next to him, probably an African American. Again, if you use the same generic brown or black to color these two men, you have a problem with your eyesight and you need to go to the doctor. So our Kemite ancestors understood this variation of color in the African people. They represented it when they represented the Kushites and when they represented themselves, as you see on this beautiful picture portraying the variation of color seen in Kemet and seen in Africa. You see here we have the beautiful Amose Nefertari. Man, just look at that image. It's beautiful. You can tell that was a beautiful woman. Then we have her husband. Again, brown skin. And then when you look at Anokyai and this Hausa Nigerian actor, it's the same picture. You would think this is the pharaoh who wed a beautiful Sudanese woman. That's it for this video, people. I hope you enjoyed this visit of the tombs of Kemet.
That was legitness. Yeah, it was, huh?
If you want more videos like this one, there is more to come. The debunker has been supplying me with amazing pictures. Again, the debunker and Munes, thank you for your amazing pictures. I greatly appreciate that, and so do the viewers. Please, if you see them in the comment section, if you see the debunker and Munes in the comment section, give them some love, give them some likes, give them some thanks. And if you enjoy seeing this, please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if you want more videos like this, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.